You've said I don't care a lot in this episode.
I don't, dude.
Do you need a hug,
I
man?
really don't, man. No, listen. Here's the thing: is I guess I've kind of gotten over myself, and I've gotten over this industry to an extent that, like, I really don't care what anybody thinks, how I do it, or what I'm doing, other than the client.
Sweet.
There you go. You got it.
So what's going on?
Not much, man. What's going on with you?
Same old thing. Oh yeah, congratulations on your
Well,
open
thank you.
mic thing.
Yeah, right there for anybody who's
Golden mic.
yeah, right there for anybody who's watching. So,
How do I turn this up? Do I turn the volume up on the iPad?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm turning it down. Okay, here we go.
You got it?
Yeah, it's a little loud now. Actually, it's way loud. All right.
I'll just yell into the microphone to make it worse for you.
Hey, that's good right there.
There you go. Sweet. So what's going on, man? Let's talk.
Oh, not much.
Catch it up. What you been up to these days?
Prepping cars for this show next weekend.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
What kind of show is it?
Just a big. It's called Motorama.
Okay.
They set around 50 to 55,000 people there.
Holy shit. Where's that
Yeah,
at?
so it's Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Is it like a big builder type show or?
I really don't know. I just go to them. I don't know what to expect. I just go show the cars that we do, and that's about it.
Yeah. You
No,
working
last
on?
show I had to get scratches off a couple other cars out there. Then
Yeah.
the rest of the one dude had an Impala, the whole car swirled up, but he had one good scratch on it. It looks like he's driven it through the tunnel wash for 25 years.
But he only had one scratch on it. He needs you to get out.
Right.
So that one scratch was like super flat and shiny, and the rest of the car.
Really, I couldn't really tell a difference in the scratch. I think the signature, or whatever you want to call it, was still there, but I got the white out of it, so
okay.
he was good with that.
Sand to improve, not to remove, right?
Oh, I didn't even sand it. I just hit it with a microfiber patch. That was enough for him.
Buzz it down. Nice. Nice.
What's been going on? I want to hear about MTE.
Oh man. Well, I mean, we did the first ever paint correction competition, and I won't say we hit it out of the park, but I mean, I'd say we did a nice little triple. We did really good with it. Everybody who attended it had a blast. Enjoyed it, had fun with it. We had a bunch of people that were trying to get into it, and we had to tell them, sorry, we're sold out. Didn't have any more pans. So, yeah, should be fun for next year.
Were there any feelings hurt?
No, nobody. Like I said, everybody had fun with it. Everybody enjoyed it. I think a lot of people, kind of hoped to win, but didn't really expect it, especially because it was the first time. They didn't really know how we were judging it, even though we had talked about it numerous times. It was on the website. Um, we just talked about how we were judging it with the gloss meter. But that was the cool thing. It intrigued everybody. Thankfully, the guys from Row Point, Dave and Daryl, were there. So it's their machine, so they knew exactly how to use it, how to do all the meters, points, and everything. And they actually taught Jason Rose some stuff about it because
Yeah.
Jason Rose was like this, that, that, and they were kind of like, well, it'll do all this other stuff too. Like apparently it'll measure orange peel. Like if you got orange peel in the paint, you could take a
Uh-huh.
measurement at before and then after. It'll measure defect wise like that with orange peel and stuff. Yeah, it does. It does a whole ton of things. I mean, we only judged on um five readings. So we did gloss, distinctness of image, haze, reflective image quality, and then R spect, which I think R spect was like clarity or defect removal or something like that. I don't know. I actually have
Mm.
um Daryl from Row Point I think he's gonna come on next week and actually talk about the machine, how they did the readings, what the readings meant, and then that one I'm putting together with all the exit interviews, and then me and Sheldon did last night. No, not last night. Wednesday night, Sheldon and I did kind of a recap, little 15 minutes. So I'm going to piece all that together to make one long video or one long podcast for the paint correction competition. Well,
Yeah.
and there goes my. Hang on, hang on.
Yeah, it
There
started
it goes.
looking like a storm was coming.
Yeah, no, I don't know, dude. This there's a for some reason. I don't know why my cameras, everything's plugged in fine, but like if I move my table a little bit, it like jiggles the connection or something like that, and it's just got to wait till it comes
Yeah.
back. So, yeah. So I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of all I got to see of MTE. I ran back and forth between the paint correction competition booth and the Aquatech booth. Thankfully, Mike and Jason were holding Aquatech booth down. We had a pretty good turnout there, from what the guys were telling me. So that was nice. But other than that, man, it was kind of a bummer. I didn't really get to walk around and see everybody and say hi and hugs and all that fun stuff. So, other than a few people, I did. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to go next year. Uh, I was watching some of the stuff that you were posting from it, and Elena asked, she said, "Are we going to go to MTE again?" I said, "Yeah, we'll go. Just too much going on right now and
yeah,
no budget."
yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what, man. I mean, it every year it seems to get busier and busier and busier and bigger and bigger and bigger, and this year was no exception. People were complaining that the Gaylord didn't have enough parking. They were parking, for like a mile away, half a mile away, or something crazy like that. So thankfully, the next 2 years it goes back to the Rosen. That's the one you went to that one time.
Yeah, I was about to ask that.
Yeah, yeah. So the next 2 years it goes back to the Rosen. The Rosen's got plenty of parking, so it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, man, it's just getting huge, man. I talked to Sheldon and I asked him, if he ever thought if it's going to get big enough to go to the convention center. So he said, "Well, we got 2 more years at the Rosen, and then we're going to have to probably start thinking about it." So, I mean, I think
That's
that'll be
awesome.
kind of cool. The only thing is I do like when it's at the resort because then you're right there with everybody. Majority of the people are staying in the hotel. And that was the thing that I was telling everybody that I like about MTE better than SEMA is like when SEMA's over, like they kick you out of the convention center. Everybody kind of goes back to your hotels, and then like that's it. Like with MTE, whether it's at the Rosen or the Gaylord, it's over. They kick you out, and everybody just hangs out in the hallways
Yeah,
and
that's
talks
true.
to all hours of the night, or goes to one of the restaurants in the hotel and, has dinner and hangs out. So that's the thing that I kind of like about it. So I mean, part of me is kind of excited for it to get big enough to go to the convention center, but then the other part of me is like, but then it's gonna suck because then it'll just be like SEMA.
Yeah, everybody's going to the cars and heading out instead of hanging out.
Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly. So yeah, next year I'm excited. We're gonna run the paint correction competition again next year. Um, hopefully we improve upon what we did this year, and um, we'll start getting some feedback from I mean, we've already had a bunch of feedback and some suggestions for next year, so we'll start taking those suggestions and seeing how we can implement them into, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we'll be there next year. Check it out again. Maybe it won't be 45 degrees.
Oh, dude, it was like 80 this year. It was hot.
Yeah, it's
It was cold. It was cold the week before, and then it got hot.
it's been cold here. It was like 20, low 20s and the teens 2 weeks
Oof.
ago. It hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. I bet. So so with the car stuff you're doing, I mean, are you doing that at your shop, or you're working for somebody or with somebody
Yeah,
or
I
something?
met I met these guys at a show last year, last February, and I had talked to them. I was like, if y'all need a wet sand and polish guy, that's what I like to do. And gave him my card and went out there and tried it out. I struggled, man. I was getting my ass kicked
Yeah.
for a while. Still am, but it's fun. It just
Yeah.
happened to be in the right place at the right time and have the right attitude.
Yeah.
And so,
Is it more of like they're kind of, helping you learn it as you go, or is it just that it's just a lot of work, so it's kicking your ass?
it's a lot of, you got to sand edge to edge. Like, get that, if it comes down to a point right here at the top of the door and then you got the flat
Yeah.
panel, you got to get on that edge. And it's scary. I messaged Kilmer. I took some pictures. I said, I was like, I'm not scared to sand the edge. I'm not sure what the hell's going on here. It doesn't look right. And he
Right.
said, yeah. And he was explaining it to me, what was happening, and it makes sense now. And
Right,
it's
right.
not so scary to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you only what when we went to Gloucester University together, what was that,
Yeah.
22? So 3 years
Mm.
ago, you you weren't heavily into the sanding at that point yet, were you?
No, I was just doing, like, I've done it before. I did a couple of cars in
Right.
Alabama, and I was sent when I lived in Florida. One of the guys at my apartment complex, he painted motorcycles, like custom motorcycles, flame jobs, you name it. And so I went and worked with him a little bit, and motorcycle parts are tough because they're curved. Everything's an edge,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but I did that, for a little extra cash when I was there, and but that's kind of how I started out, was sanding. It was, I bet I'd been using a rotary for probably 3.5 years before I ever had a DA.
Right.
And then I started playing with the DA more than microfibers. And I was like, well, man, this cuts down a lot of time, because I was
Oh,
sanding
yeah.
something that a microfiber would get out, but I didn't know about it. All I knew about was the rotary, and doing 3 or 4 steps for a scratch that's, you know not that big, but then all your rotary swirls and stuff, you gotta get rid of those.
Right, right, exactly.
But yeah, there was a few cars. There was one that came into the shop, and I didn't look at it close enough. The guy had bought it, and he said, "I want it cleaned up. I bought it, and it's been neglected." And I don't remember what I quoted him, but he brought it on like a Tuesday, and I didn't have anything booked for the rest of the week. I got it as soon as I opened the door. I saw overspray on the door, the rubber door seal. I was like, "Man,
Yeah.
piss on this." I went and looked at the other side. The whole car had been resprayed, and
Oh,
polishing it was not going to do anything. So I was like, "Could I sand this pretty quick?" I did. I'd quoted him for 3 days on the car, and I called him back, told him I was like, "Let me keep it another day." And he's like, "Man, I didn't know it was painted." I said, "Yeah, like look at the rubber seal. There's overspray everywhere."
oh,
But what can you do?
yeah. And it's crazy as some people don't know. I mean, sometimes I'm afraid to like point it out, but at the same time, like I kind of want to, like, hey, that quarter panel over there has been reshot, because then they're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
So I had one today, and the rear driver quarter had been reshot and not good at all. And I told the guy, I said, that quarters back there's been resprayed. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I didn't know it until after we bought the car. And I was like, oh, okay. At least you know about it.
yeah.
So,
It blows my mind. I talked with Maddie about the guy I did paint work with. There was a dealer in Alabama. I'm not going to name the dealer, but I will tell what happened. This girl was inside signing papers on her brand new Toyota, and
mhm.
the car got damaged on the lot. Like while they were cleaning it up, got the I think it was the quarter panel,
Ah,
and everybody was flipping out because like the car was sold,
right.
and they're like, "Can you fix this?" They're like, "She's inside signing paper." He sprayed it out in the parking lot. Brand new car.
Ugh. Look like shit too, huh?
I didn't want any part of it.
Yeah.
I taped it, and
Yeah.
that was about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, my buddy who does spot spray stuff at the dealership, when they get, little dings or nicks on the cars or whatever, he takes care of the Ferrari dealership down here, and like he sent me some pictures of a couple of cars that, like, he gets called in because when they unload them off the trucks, as low as Ferraris are, they don't pay attention and they rub like underneath the front lip or
Right.
something. So he's got to go and like spot spray it underneath the lip before the customer takes delivery of it. And I'm just like, oh my God, if I was paying $500,000 or whatever for a
Yeah.
Ferrari, and, and I found out that it's been spot sprayed underneath the front lip or whatever, I'd have a shit fit.
Yeah.
Um,
It blows my mind
it's
the stuff that will have a clean Carfax. I went and looked at a car one time several years ago, and the black plastic on the bumper, like the fog light bezel thing, it had some
yeah.
white overspray on it. The car was pearl white. And I told him, I was like, "That bumper's been sprayed." He said, "No, it hasn't. It's got a clean Carfax." I said, "No."
Yeah, that doesn't
I
mean
said,
shit.
"Well, tell me what this is right here." And he said, I don't know." I was like, "They missed a tape line when they were painting it."
Yeah. Yeah, but the Carfax doesn't mean shit because that's just if it goes through insurance,
Right.
you know? If they pay cash money for it, that shit doesn't go in Carfax, so, you know, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's like nowadays all these, detailers want a coating because that goes on Carfax, like, big deal. It's not increasing the value of the resale on
Yeah.
the
It just tells
car,
the date and the mileage that it was put on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. We have a bunch of people ask us if we're gonna do it, and I don't know. I don't know that it's worth it for us to go through all that to be able to say that Aquatex on Carfax. Like, who
Yeah,
cares?
I don't know. I guess it makes people feel better.
I guess I don't know. I mean, I've only had one client that, and it wasn't because of Carfax. So this guy hit me up. He had like a special edition Boxster Cayman or something like that. Like they only made like 1,900 of them that one year. I forget what it's. I don't. I can't remember if it was a 718 or the seven something or whatever. And and he calls me up and he's asking me about coatings. And at the time I was using IGL, so you know IGL had poly, which was a 1 year, and quartz it was 2 year, quartz plus 3 year, Kenzo 4 year. So I told him, I was like, I mean, like, what are you looking for? And he's like, look, dude, I'm selling the car. I just want to put a coating on it. And I was like, well, why do you want to put a coating on it if you're selling it? You know? And he's like, oh, it's a special edition, you know, Porsche Boxster, blah, 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 blah. I'll get more money for it. I was like, really? So dude did the 1 year. I think I charged him like, I don't know, $700 to do a quick one step polish and throw some poly on
Hmm.
there. And dude was able to like jack the price like another 2 grand just because it had a coating on it. Like sold it through the Porsche Club of America, said it had a ceramic coating on it, jacked the price like 2 grand over what you know it listed at or retailed for, whatever, and sold it like fast as fuck.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I've ever heard of a ceramic coating kind of like helping a sale or whatever. So
Well,
yeah, I don't know,
it makes the
but it
car
wasn't
so
Carfax.
shiny.
Yeah, so shiny, so smooth.
I did the last
Yeah.
car I coated was I guess about 3 weeks ago, and I told the guy, I was like, if I polished half of the trunk and left the other and just put a coating on it, I said the polish side is going to look better. And he was blown. It blew his
Oh yeah.
mind. He was like, "Really?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, you could buy the coating if you want."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've always believed in that, but then we got this gloss meter, and me and Noxie were playing around with it. Um, through text, he was telling me some stuff to try, and I'll tell you what, I did I had a white Ford Explorer 2 year old in my so I gloss metered it before I even washed it, and it had a gloss reading of like I think like 72 or something like that. I washed it, clayed it, put a um, wood application sealant on it, and it bumped it to like 77, 76, 77, something like that. And I was pretty happy with that. And then Noxie was like, "Man, it'd be cool if you could put a coating on it, you know." And I was like, "Well, I mean, the guy is going to take it to the auction, so doesn't really matter." So we taped off I don't know, I think it was like a 10 by 15 section, two sections on the hood, and I laid down Aquatech Singular on one section and an Aquatech Freestyle on the other section, and it went from um well, I had to polish it. I had to polish it because I had to get the sealant off, right? So the after polishing it with Sol and a yellow pad, the gloss was 80. Put Singular on it, and the gloss jumped up 10 points to 90. So it does add gloss, that's for
Yeah.
sure. So because I was always like you, dude, I always felt like the car looked better before you put the ceramic on it. You know, I felt like it had more shine, more gloss to it, just with a nice cut and polish on it. Because sometimes I would take pictures. I would take a picture after I cut and polished it, and then I would coat it, and then take a picture. And you look at the pictures kind of side by side, and it doesn't look as glossy with the coating, but the gloss meter proved me wrong on that one. So yeah.
I'd be curious to see a bunch of different coatings because I like doing stuff like that, like testing
Yeah.
stuff, but I don't want to spend the money on a gloss meter just to play around with it.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, Sheldon paid for this and sent it to me. So thank you, Sheldon, for
That was very sweet.
sending me a gloss meter. So yeah. Well, I mean, he bought it so that we could use it for the competition, and he sent it to me so I could start, like I could play with the pans and make sure, whatever, because again, we didn't know really what we were going to do when we got to the show. And then he told me, he's like, look, he's like, I don't need to bring this thing back to Vegas and put it in storage. He's like, if you can use it at your shop, just keep it and just, bring it to MTE next year and year after that and on, whatever. So I was like, hell yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna have some fun playing with it. Do some tests with some Aquatech stuff, and I'm gonna use it as a selling tool too. I'm gonna show people, hey, let's take a gloss reading of your vehicles when you drop it off, and then I'm gonna take a gloss reading when you come back and show them the difference. So hopefully it makes it easy to sell stuff going forward.
So does it go up to like 100?
I mean, I guess I haven't done anything to get 100 on a gloss reading yet. Even in the paint correction competition, um, I don't know what the highest score was, but everything that, because I didn't pay attention to everything that they were doing, but the few times that I did kind of look over, like everything was like that, 80 to 90 range, it seemed like. Um, so I don't know what you have to do to get to 100, but I'm damn sure gonna try and figure out, see what I can get. The highest I got was when I put singular on that car and got a 90. So I'm gonna I'm gonna keep playing around with those pans and see what I can do to see what I can get over 90 with.
Try putting a little piece of PPF on it. I wonder what that would do.
I could, because it will read PPF too, they said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. They're gonna they have to the guys from Row Point actually accidentally took my machine with them, so they had to send it back to me. So I'm supposed to get it, I think, Sunday. So when I get it back Sunday, then we're gonna set up a call, and they're actually gonna kind of teach me how to use it, and how to go through all the different settings and all the different readings and stuff like that. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be
I
good
got a
stuff.
really stupid question.
Okay.
Is that a microphone hanging beside your head, or is that part of the painting behind you?
So that right there,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the painting.
Okay. I didn't know if it was hanging right in front of your face. I see it now.
Yeah, that's the one Noxie did for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then uh, and then that one's the golden mic. So
Cool.
yeah, yeah, man. I told Noxie I might have to send that picture back to him and have him repaint the microphone gold now. And he was like, "Just commission another one." I was like, "Fuck that!
Yeah.
That one already cost too much money."
Yeah. I had him do one for us. I told him I wanted some sort of space theme, and yeah, he killed it. I didn't even see it. I don't think he showed it to me until we went and picked it up.
Yeah,
But that it's cool. It's hanging in the living room.
nice. Yeah, he I we went up there one time for Haley's cheer, and I went out and hung out with him for the day. And he's like, "You want to see your painting?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so like he shows it to me, and I'm like, "Fuck, dude, that's awesome." So like we're like, hanging out in the shop, just bullshitting or whatever, and I'm getting ready to leave. He's like, "Hey, take your painting with you," and I was like, bro, I can't take that on the plane. What the fuck? Like,
Right.
you gotta send it to me.
It'll get destroyed.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, well, it's gonna cost more than for the shipping." I was like, "Whatever, just send me a bill. Tell me how much it costs to ship it. I'll pay you for that." So, damn shipping of this stupid thing. I won't say it's stupid. It's pretty badass, honestly.
Yeah.
But the shipping cost me more than it cost me to have them paint it. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's like, yeah, it was nuts. So,
I like watching those people. They'll get, just a little cup of paint and they'll throw it all over, and
yeah,
then they'll take some sort of flat like
yeah, like a little
blade
little
thing.
putty knife kind of almost. Yeah,
Yeah, putty knife type looking
yeah.
thing, and they'll make a whole like New York City or
Oh
Chicago or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
like
Like
a skylight.
in the rain, so it's like kind of blurry, but it's still like you can see it, kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's kind of. I mean, I don't know. So like all the buildings that make up the city are just brushstrokes. So like when you look at it up close, it's just a brushstroke. And then
yeah,
like, like this one, he just put like some black dots in it to make it look like windows and everything. But yeah, and then when it gets back here, like in the background, it's just like dots and everything.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he did a killer job on it. So there's a couple I don't know where they are. There's a couple of them that he used like gold paint that's got a little bit of reflectiveness into it. And then like this line right here on the microphone is like a reflective silver paint. So
Hmm.
when the light hits on it, it splashes. Yeah, he did a pretty good job. The crazy thing about it, dude, is so like the gorilla's face is actually so detailed that whenever I try to take a picture of it, my iPhone puts the little square around the gorilla's face because it recognizes it as a face.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy. Like it's not even like it's not even that big compared to the painting, but it's just so much detail in the face of the gorilla that the phone recognizes it as a face. It's pretty cool. So yeah.
it's neat that people can do that. Oh, I like drawing stuff when I was a kid, but I wasn't. I was okay at it, I guess.
Yeah.
But me and my dad, we were always big Tim Allen fans,
Okay.
and I wanted to draw a picture of Wilson behind the fence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I bought a sketch pad and stuff. I don't know, probably 4 months ago. Haven't touched it yet. I need to try it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to draw and I wasn't really big on painting, but I used to draw in high school. I was good at like looking at something and like drawing it, like kind of like copying it, but that was kind of about it. I didn't have a lot of skill to like come up with stuff on my own, really. So
Yeah.
yeah, I could do.
Have you seen that movie? Not Another Teen Movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so this will make sense to you. I picture Noxie doing that, like the main girl that was in ER
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
she's painting and she's like, throwing the
And it's
paint.
like little
I bet
stick
that's what
figures.
Noxie does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a stick figure and a dog or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I
That
don't know.
movie's hilarious.
I know. It's one of my favorites. Yeah. No, I don't know, man. I mean, he does awesome work. I mean, I was super blown away with this one and a couple of the other things that he's posted up, actually shown off because doesn't seem like he really shows it off too much, but every now and then he shows some stuff off, and it's like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah,
So I don't know. He should make some prints,
he should.
sell them out to people. Yeah,
He should start an OnlyFans also.
for
No, he
painting.
shouldn't. Yeah, maybe painting.
I'm not signing up to that. I don't care. I don't care what he's doing on there. I'm not signing up for it.
It would turn into a sale. Somebody buy it.
Yeah. Yeah,
75
just
cents.
yeah, just like that fucking little wikis wax that he conned me into, and then couldn't sell. Neither one of us could sell them.
Have you tried it yet?
What, little wikis?
Yeah.
No, because I got this shit. I got Red
So
Delight. I don't need little
are they
wikis.
not the same thing?
No.
I thought they were the same thing, just different labels. Okay, yeah, mine's green, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. He did teal for Aquatech for me. I did so it was supposed to be red for Georgia Clay, Red's Detail Co., and then the fact that he's a ginger. Um, but I had talked to Rick and John about trying to make it a smoke smell since he smokes cigarettes all the time. So they made it a like nicotine yellow kind of,
Nice.
and then they gave it a it's got a sweet smell to it. Um, it's supposed to smell like donuts, but I don't think it smells plasticky. It smells like sweet plastic to me. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, then it's his dumb, ugly face stuffing a donut in his mouth, listening to Detail Solutions podcast on his headphones.
Yeah, and then Boy George.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I thought they were the same wax, just different
Nah,
labels.
nah, they're different. I mean, I listen. I'll be honest with you. It could be the same wax, just different dye, because
You need to put the gloss meter on it.
it's just yeah. I mean, it's just angel. So John made them. I mean, it's not angel wax, but I mean, it's just carnauba wax. I mean, I don't. John says it's not. It's not anything that they make for angel wax because we were the customer, so he made it for us. But I mean, it's probably um just like what like a generic carnauba wax, recipe or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it was a fun idea. We had a good time, kind of, trying to put each other's product down and build ours up to make people want to buy them. But
Yeah.
dude, I've got so many left. Michelle's like, can you please get rid of them? Like they're just taking up space. And I'm like, well, they're in a box in the closet. Like it's not taking up that much space.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. If anybody's still interested in some Red Delight wax, I will sell them super cheap to you.
Hang on a second. I'll show the little wikis.
Yeah, you got the little wikis.
Yeah.
Have you
Where's it
used
at?
it?
Yeah, I put it on a 67 Firebird.
How was it?
I put it on there and left it for about 7 minutes or so,
Yeah.
and it was pretty rough to get off.
Okay.
So I went down to like 5 minutes. But there's the box,
Yep.
and then
A little carny
your
box.
stupid face.
Yep. My stupid face. Exactly.
Number 2 of 50.
Nice.
Yeah, this smells minty.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I mean
Yeah. I mean,
it had
honestly,
a nice shine.
people were asking me about it, and I was like, look, I didn't even think anybody would really use this stuff. I figured people would just buy it as like little memorabilia collector piece or whatever. That's why I just told John, like, I don't care, whatever wax, because he was like, well, what do you want? How do you want it? And I'm like, dude, I don't expect anybody to really use this stuff. Like, just, like, just do it. So, I mean, I've got Tommy's wax. It's over in that little cubby over there. I've got Tommy's wax, the Fuego. Dude, I never opened it and used it. It's a collector's piece to me. Tommy
Yeah.
signed it and numbered it and gave it to me. Um, like that's my little collectible cubby over there. I've got a buff and shine pad that I got from when I went out to the Air Force One project. So on the back of it, it has the Air Force One 20th anniversary logo and everything on it. So it's in the plastic wrapping. I never opened it. I got my challenge coin from when I went out to the Air Force One project. Um I've got some wax that John made at MTE that one year. I think it was the year you were there, maybe. Um, and John signed it for me. So like I've got that as a little collectible piece. I've got some Enzo energy drinks that John sent me because I don't drink energy drinks, so I just kind of had them as collectibles, and then um, I don't know. I got some other stuff up there. I forget. Just just a little whatever. Whenever I go to these events, and somebody's got something that I feel like is kind of a memorabilia piece, I just keep it, hold
Yeah,
on to it. So yeah, kind of like a signed hat, bucket hats. You still got that?
I do. It still doesn't fit my big head. But yeah, it's. I took it to Ring Brothers with me and
Nice.
got a bunch of people at MTE to sign it.
I think that was probably one of the first things that I signed for anybody. Yeah, I think you were the first person to ask me to sign something. I think that's why I gave you a hard time about it. I was like, no, I'm not signing that. Like, it's
I
just,
mean, you're the guy that's better than Aaron Knox.
yeah,
I couldn't believe it. Like,
I know, I
I
know.
mean, you hear the stories, but
Yeah.
when you're there in front of greatness,
I'll
no,
never
I
forget.
went back. I listened to his episode, um, a bunch of the old stuff. I like listening to the ones that like I'm buddies with the people
Yeah.
and hear what they tell and everything. And I didn't know you had done one with Maddie. I guess that
Yeah.
was before I knew who he was, but I listened to it and but I was listening to one with David and
Hmm.
you guys, I don't remember what y'all said, but something about you said you had started using those CCS pads. It's
Yeah.
probably been a couple of years, but I've
Yeah.
never used one. I
I
was
I
curious.
I liked them. I mean, I haven't really used them since. I mean, I'll be honest with you, like all the cars that I've been getting for probably the last year or so have been brand new cars or fairly new cars. So like Soul and an Oberk yellow pad is probably like 90% of what I use on cars because they really don't need anything heavy. Um, and if it does need more than Soul and a yellow pad, I'm using Rupes blue microfibers with Oberk cut, you know, and because that finishes down real nice. The microfibers cut real good, but they don't leave a lot of marring behind. So, I mean, shoot, I've even done some cars. If it's a lighter color car, I've used that blue microfiber with Soul or with Oberk cut and done it in one step because it doesn't leave a lot of DA haze or micro marring behind.
Yeah.
Now, in a black car, dark blue, depending on sometimes, yeah, it will, and then I'll have to go in and finish it down with a. Usually, I'll use a Rupes yellow pad with Oberk polish to finish it down. But yeah, so I haven't really used the CCS pads too much um, lately or the HDOs. I mean, I need to get a couple just to have them around because sometimes I've had some cars that the Oberk yellow pad isn't enough, but microfiber pad is kind of too much. So I need like that in between foam pad. So I do need to get some more. So
So what I would do in that situation, play with. I like trying a just a microfiber and sole. If I can cut with that, you
yeah,
can one step
I've
with
done that.
that.
Yeah. You know what I did the other day, and I only did it because it had some light water spots on it. It was a brand new Hyundai Kona, and it just had a couple like water spots on the hood, probably from the dealership, wash down or wet down or whatever. Nothing crazy. You couldn't even hardly see them, but unless you caught it in the overhead um, um, light, you know. And so what I did was I did a yellow Rupes microfiber like polishing pad with Oberk cut, and then that did the trick because it gave it a little bit of cut, but had a nice little finish down. So
Yeah.
so I did that. I played around with that. Also, the roof has yellow wool with like something like Oberk cut or whatever is real nice too, because it'll give you that cut, but then give you that finish down because it's a polish pad.
Yeah, that yellow wool, I know a lot of people like it for the
Yeah,
DA, but that type of wool on the DA, I don't like how the fibers get all twisted up and stuff.
yeah.
I like the
You just gotta blow it out after every pass. It's the only
yeah,
thing. Same
that
thing with
shit.
microfibers, you know.
I'm not trying anything new ever.
Yeah,
Never ever again. No, I did. It's just I like them on the rotary, but
yeah,
it's a lot of times if I'm using that with a rotary, I can probably do it with a DA and microfiber.
right.
So I'll do that, but that's splitting hairs, I think.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think at the end of the day, like, unless you're putting a gloss meter on it, there's probably not much difference to the eye, unless you're doing like the crazy shit that you're doing or like, Maddie or Dave does or whatever, where you're, sanding a whole car, then you need like a rotary with, whatever pad and a DA. But for the everyday, I think it doesn't really matter. The client's not going to know too much. So detailers probably overdo it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
If you ask a customer, be like, what are the issues you need taken care of? And they'll say, well, the dog jumped on it right here, and the kid ran the bicycle into it right here, and they don't see the other 50,000 miles of
Oh yeah,
car
exactly.
wash
Yeah.
damage. So why are we chasing all this other shit that they didn't even point out?
Yeah.
And then we're sitting on the ground with our lights pointed at it, looking up like this. We're like, I got to get that scratch out. Well, no, you don't. They didn't even see it, and you're on the ground looking up. I don't know. Hashtag rocker panel.
Yeah, yeah. Hashtag rocker panels, exactly.
And then you won correction of the year the one time you touched a
The
fucking
one
rocker.
yeah,
The one time
the one
that
time I touched a rocker, right.
that was pretty. What happened on that? I don't think I heard the story about how it was so messed up.
So, so the girl who owned the truck was a friend of my friend Jackie Orlando. I don't know if you know Jackie. She details
Yeah,
down
I've
here.
talked to her a few times.
Yeah, so her friend owned the truck. Her boyfriend had apparently like run through some paint somewhere or something, and then decided to um, try to take a Brillo pad to it to remove the paint. So obviously he's scratched the shit out of it. So Jackie sent her to me, and I said, yeah, I can, I should be able to get it out. But the hard part about it was the heaviest part was on the rocker, and then it's the Dodge Ram TRX, so it's got those steps that are fixed to it, and they almost have like that bed liner kind of roughness to it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get my 5-inch DA there. I couldn't get a rotary there, so I had to do it all with the nano hybrid on a 1-inch, using the rotary attachment with a Lake Country blue microfiber, and it was just cut, wipe, cut. I mean, it probably took me a couple of hours to just cut that one section of the rocker panel, because it was
Hmm.
just the hybrid nano doesn't have a lot of power to it, so
No.
it was just like a kind of a constant mowing down. But the beauty of that truck was it had a shit ton of paint on it, from the factory. I mean, I was metering it at like, God, it was like 200 and something microns.
That's a lot.
Yeah, of factory paint. So like I knew I could buzz away on it, and even if I took off 20 or 30 microns, like wasn't a big deal. There was still a shit ton of paint left on it. So, um, and then he had like got up on the middle of the doors and shit like that, but that was easier to hit with the with the 5 inch DA and whatnot to cut those, and those weren't as bad. It was just on the rockers because I guess that's where the paint splashed up. Um, so yeah, so that's how I won that one.
It blows my mind that people think that the Scotch Brite pad is the way to go.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Well,
There was a guy I did one for. It was a black Lexus. I think it was IS 250, and they're pretty soft. And he had gotten tree sap off,
yeah,
and after I got done, he was looking at the trunk, and I had sanded on it, not too heavy, but as much as I was willing to for
yeah,
what I was charging him and everything. And he came out like when I was done. He came out and was looking at it. And he said, "Well, now how do I keep it this nice?" And I showed him the sealant that I'd put on it. I said, "This is what's on here. It's got directions. It's easy as hell to use." But he said, "So what if I get tree sap on it again?" I said, "Don't use a fucking Brillo pad to get it off."
exactly. That's like a few months back. I had a guy call me. His wife did that. There was tree sap all over their new Honda Civic, and she took a Brillo pad to it. And on the hood, it was the scariest part for me because I don't wet sand a lot, but I was kind of fresh back from Noxie's training, and so I was like, "Fuck it, man!" Like I'm like hyped up. I just did it at Noxie's. I feel good, and so it was the edge right up where the hood is, up against the windshield. It was on that edge, and she
Yeah,
had scrubbed it so hard with the Brillo pad that there was like, I think there was like less than 60 microns of paint. And so I told the guys, like, look, man, like, there's not a lot of paint here. And I don't know. I don't want to, like, I don't want to burn through. Like, I'll do it the best I can. Um, and I hit it with some 15 and then followed it up with 3,000 and then buffed it out and I got it all out. But dude, when I was done, there was like 44 microns of paint left on it, you know? So, so he opted for a ceramic coating because I told him, I said, look, I'm gonna take a lot of paint off in these areas because there was multiple areas. I said,
yeah.
and the car, like the hood was measuring like, God, the hood was thin to begin with. I think the hood was only measuring like 75 or 80 microns.
That was an Audi, wasn't it?
No, no, it was a Honda Civic.
Okay.
It was like that Nardo gray or whatever, kind of it, but theirs is metallic, so it's got like all the flake in it.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, look, I'm gonna take it down, next to, it's not gonna have a lot. I said, your best bet is for us to do a ceramic coating because, it's not really gonna build it up, but at least it'll give it some protection, you know. And then his wife, they came back to pick it up, and his wife was like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." And I was like, "Look, Brillo pad stays in the kitchen, right?" And
Right.
she's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," you know. so, so, but yeah, that one was a rough one. But I felt good about it because it was one that it took me out of my comfort level to sand. And I sent the guy pictures. I was like, "Look, dude, this is what I'm comfortable with." And he's like, "Can you just try a little bit better? Like, I could still kind of see the scratches." And so, like, him kind of pushing me to keep, because I was like, I'm done. And he was like, try more. And I was like, okay, so it pushed me out of my comfort zone. But at the end, like, I was kind of like, pat, 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 I felt good about it.
Yeah. Sanding, I mean, I get why people are scared of it because you're putting scratches into it.
Yeah.
But if you can hear, and I always tell people to relate it to shaving. you're not gonna pressing the razor harder against your face doesn't make it cut faster.
Yeah.
You're gonna cut yourself.
Right, right.
It's a little bit of slip and a little bit of grip, and you can feel that and hear it too.
Yeah.
Same way with sanding.
Yeah.
If you all you need is enough pressure to make it scratch. If you bear down on it, then you're liable to do some damage
Yeah.
or group.
I think
It's
I think the other thing too is a lot of people don't really understand paint and don't understand the resiliency that it has. So even if it is really thin, like what I was working with, like you can still sand away and it's not gonna do any damage. Now, I feel like if maybe uneducated detailer would have been like, okay, yeah, it's a Brillo pad. I'm just gonna throw, a wool pad on and a heavy compound, and I'm just gonna grind away at it, then yeah, they would have burned through it in no time because you're doing more damage with the machine than by sanding it. So,
yeah.
um, but yeah, that was a fun one because there was two spots on the hood, one spot on the front quarter panel that they showed me. And then as I was doing it, there was like three spots on the roof and another spot on the passenger side, like a pillar. And I even told him when they came back, I said, you did a whole lot on this car. And she was kind of like, and I was like, there was a bunch of spots on the roof and over there. And she was like, like she got like I called her out because obviously the husband noticed the big spots on the front end, but he didn't notice the other spots around the roof and the rear or the passenger side pillars and everything. So yeah, yeah, that was a
I
fun.
guess it got the sap off though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she did do that. That's for sure. Sap and some of the paint and clear coat.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It 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 seems like once you see it scratching the shit out of it, you would stop.
Right.
But I don't know.
People don't have no common sense, man.
Yeah, Maddie always said if people took care of their cars the right way, we would be doing something else.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I'm just lucky enough that I feel like some people actually do care about their cars because trust me, I mean, think about how many cars you drive past down the road and you're just like, God, that person doesn't give a shit about their car. Like, 3 years worth of dirt on it, scratches to hell, you know, clear coat failing,
Yeah,
you know. That's what I always love is when you get the people that pull up and they're like, hey, so my paint's doing this thing. Can you buff it out and fix it? It's like, no, your clear coat's failed. Like, there ain't nothing there to fix, buddy. You
yeah.
should have
Or
put
it's
a
got
wax.
crow's feet.
Yeah, you should have put a wax on it like years ago.
I had a guy this past week asked me. He said they were going to trade in theirs. It was like a 2018 or so Suburban, and he wanted the hood and roof polished. And I asked him why, and he showed me pictures. I was like, "Yeah, that's failure. I
Yeah,
can't do anything with it." And he said, "Well, it's don't you know how to wet sand and polish?" I said, "Yeah, anything I can do is going to make it worse.
yeah.
Like just trade it in, and
Go
I'll
get
take
some.
care of the new car."
Yeah, just go get some vegetable oil. Wipe it on, put it on a towel, and wipe it all over it. Take it to the dealership at night. And trade it in.
Yeah. Oh God, there was a car when I did the paint where I'll tell you about some of the bootleg stuff we did, but I didn't know it was bootleg. But this dude had a minivan, and the quarter panel had been smashed pretty good. I think it was the quarter panel and the sliding door,
Uh huh.
and he was going to go trade the car in, and wanted it to look better so he'd get more money out of it. So we were out there messing with it, and it was a Friday afternoon. Well, we were not going to finish, so we got it to a point of primer and everything. No, he put some color on it. He
Okay.
said, "I'll just put some color on it and some clear coat, and we'll be back Monday to finish it." Well, instead of doing that, instead of waiting till Monday, the guy traded it in over the weekend, and it was piss pouring rain, and
Oh,
there wasn't even enough color on there to cover up all the body work and stuff.
right.
I know
Jeez.
somebody got their ass chewed for not looking at that car in the lights and everything.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I always tell people when they're like, "Look, man, we're just gonna trade it in. I really don't want to spend a lot of money on it." Then I'm like, "Look, just take it to the dealership at night, you know, and just trade it in at night." They're
Yeah,
not gonna like go around. They're gonna look at mileage, what year it is. They're gonna do a quick walk around, whatever, and be on the way. Um, because I'm like anything I do is gonna cost money, you know. So
yeah,
so you might get more money out of it when it's done. I mean, I've done cars for people, even if I just do like a quick little $500, one step or whatever and throw a sealant on it, they end up getting, a couple $1,000s more in their trade-in value
right.
for it. So I've had that happen before. Um,
I've had a bunch of people. They just want it cleaned up.
yeah,
They're like, I've let it go. Just clean it up and everything, and just because they're going to trade it in. And I bet I've done 10 of those over the last year or so.
yeah,
I'm like, man, why are you cleaning it up for somebody else? You've had it for so long.
yeah. Most of the
Driving.
time, most of the time, the dealership's just going to have the detail shop go back over it anyway. So I tell people a lot of times, like, look, if it's not that bad, like, don't even spend the money because dealership's only going to give you what they're going to give you for it anyways, and they're going to have their detail department clean it up before they put it on a lot or send it to auction, whatever. So
Hmm.
you know, and I don't want to do those jobs because usually those people only want to spend like $100 or $150, and it's just not worth it for me.
Yeah. And then they wonder why it's not perfect. And I'm like, well, how long's
Yeah.
that stain been there?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
They
Yeah.
let it get baked in. Like if you spill something on your favorite T-shirt, you're going to try to wash it as soon as possible, but not the car.
No, no, hell no.
We'll leave the milkshake in the carpet.
God, that's the worst. It's
Dried vomit is one of the
Ooh,
worst things.
yeah. The worst
I
the
don't.
worst the worst I ever had was at the car wash. A guy brought in his elderly mother's car, and she'd gone to the grocery store and she had bought some meat and put it in the trunk and then forgot about it for a month.
Damn.
Yeah. And that was before I knew about chlorine dioxide. So we just ran the shit out of the ozone in there. So,
Yeah.
but we did have, I mean, granted, it was Simonized Car Wash, so they had spent money. So we did have one of those ozone machines that you put outside the car and then ran the hose in through the window with the foam insert and everything like that. So it at least was like the better of the ozone machines, but um yeah, it was pretty nasty. We had to do that I think we had to run we ran that thing I think for like 3 or 4 hours to get all that rancid smell out, you know. Thankfully there
There.
wasn't any maggots or anything in it. It was just the smell.
Yeah. I had a girl over the summer, like when it was hot. She had I don't know what year Forerunner, but she spilled some wet dog food down in a little cubby where like a seatbelt was or something.
Uh-huh.
And she had tried to get it out. Well, her and her boyfriend were going on a trip. He had a Toyota Celica and they had three big dogs. She said, "We're going on this trip and I don't want to take that Celica, but he is not riding if this car stinks."
Yeah.
I was able to get it, but that shit was ripe.
Wow. Yeah, I had a client who did that. It was in his Tesla. He spilled some wet cat food or wet dog food, but the juices, it was in the back seat, the back floorboard, and when it tipped over, the juices went into that little air vent that's underneath the seat.
Yeah.
And so, like, no matter what we did to it, we could not get the smell out of it. Like 3 rounds of chlorine dioxide tablets, I think it was like almost 100 grams after all said and done. Shampoo in the carpets, like could not get it out because it was in that vent thing or whatever. He ended up having to have Tesla come out, rip the seats out, rip out the carpet, ordered new carpet, took those little air vents, cleaned them out because it runs underneath into the center console because that's where the airflow comes from. Dude,
Yeah.
they had to do like a crazy, like, strip the car and clean it all out and everything, put new carpets in it, put the seats back in, all that stuff. That was the only one I couldn't really do, and it wasn't really, you know, my fault that I couldn't do it. It was just the situation of that liquid running in that little vent and getting into the channels and everything. It was nasty.
I wouldn't want to take apart a Tesla.
Nah.
No chance.
Nah. Even he told me even the Tesla tech, like their master certified tech, when he was taking the seats out, like broke one of the bolts so then they had to go and like order a new stud to make sure that they put the seat back in right and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I had one when this lady, her daughter spilled breast milk in the car. It got in the carpet, and they had tried to clean it and finally called somebody about 3 or 4 days later. And that, boy, that was it. It smelled pretty bad.
Yeah.
And the combination of whatever cleaner she had tried to use, but it came out.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a guy one time spilled gas in the back of his Range Rover and then dumped um baking soda on it. And then by the time he brought it to me to like get it to like shampoo it out, all that baking soda and everything had just like crusted up, turned into like cake and all the fiber. I mean, it took me forever to clean that out. That was
Yeah.
a shitty one.
What kind of shampooer do you got?
I don't know. I don't know.
I've
So when I left the car wash, they stopped doing details. That was pretty much the reason why I left the car wash because I was paid a percentage off of sales from the detail shop. And so we had a couple of these like gigantic, kind of industrial um hot water extractors. I mean, these things are like $2,000 brand
yeah,
new. And they pretty much were brand new. I mean, I think we'd only had them for like a year or so. And so at the time, I was still friendly with the GM because he was the GM when I worked there. So when the new car wash took over, they hired him on to be to just stay in his position. So they were getting rid of all their detailing equipment. And so he sold me that $2,000 like 1 year old hot water extractor for $200.
nice.
Dude, it was like 9 years ago. Fucking thing, knock on wood, still works great to this day. So
There's only been probably a handful of times I could have used one,
yeah,
and every time I hear somebody online, they're talking about I just bought the Mighty
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
and this doesn't work, or this doesn't work, or this is leaking.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know why the Mighty seems to be like kind of the only one that's um like advertised to the um to the detail community, but I mean, all the ones we ever used at the car wash were like bigger, more industrial size ones, like not and I guess the Mighty is made smaller, especially for the mobile guys. It's easier to throw in a van or a truck or trailer or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, mine's like, I don't know. I mean, it's on wheels, but even on wheels, it's probably 3.5 feet tall, 4 feet tall. I mean, it's got a 5-gallon water tank in it. So, the water runs through a heated coil and then goes into the hose. So, like, you don't have the coils in the water that usually like rust out and go bad.
Yeah.
So, um, and since it runs through the heated coil, it heats up faster. So really, like, once you start pulling the trigger, usually within like 10 or 15 seconds, you have hot water.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I've ever had to do was, thankfully, one of my buddies was the maintenance guy at the car wash at the time, and the heater motor went out, or the heater pack went out. And he was like, dude, he's like, we have one. And I was like, okay. And he goes, I'll just give it to you. And I was like, sweet. I was like, come over and install it. I'll give you $100. He's like, done. So like I got like this, I don't even know how much the heater motor was or whatever. That's the only thing I've had to replace on it. That and the hose. After fucking 9 years, the hose got a hole in it. And so I had to replace the hose and the water line hose. But other than that, everything still works great, thankfully.
Yeah. I don't want to do interiors where I need one of those things.
Yeah, I try not to unless it's like really, really bad. Um, I typically just do a dry vac, spray it down with an enzyme pre-spot, let it sit for a little bit, agitate it with a brush, and then I'll take that the Tornador. I've got the vacuum attachment to it, so I can just blow everything and suck it up. Um, and usually if it doesn't have any stains or any heavy, nastiness to it or whatever, usually that'll do the trick, cleans it up, and then I don't have to leave the carpets all soaking wet and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I did one. There was dried vomit, and I don't know the correct way to get it out, but this is the way I did it.
Hmm.
I hit it with a bunch of steam to break it up
Okay.
and then suck it out
Yeah.
until I could put some clean, like the carpet, looked clean,
Yeah.
and then I actually put a cleaner on it and went after it. But man, that vomit, you put that heat on it, it stinks.
Oh yeah. Well, that's one of the things I learned from the biobombs guy on the guys on the last podcast or whatever, was they make those chlorine dioxide tablets in minis so you can drop them in your steamer. So like if you were doing that, like that would have been the thing to do, is drop a chlorine dioxide in your steamer and then attack it with the steam, because the chlorine dioxide would break it down and disinfect it, and then you wouldn't have that nasty smell.
So, would I need to wear like a respirator doing something like that? Like
Uh
putting it in there and then it's vaporized or whatever?
I don't know with the minis like that, because I think the minis are like 5, maybe 5 or 7 grams, so they're not as potent. But I mean, even with something like that, just the fumes of the vomit, I would say respirator, or at least a mask or something, because that shit's
Yeah.
nasty. You really don't want
Yeah, it is.
that in. Usually with the 20 grams or more tablets, when I do interior like odor outs or whatever, um The only way I'll throw the respirator on is like once it gets to like to that 45-minute mark and I want to turn the AC on and run it through the recirculation,
Yeah,
then I'll throw a respirator on. I'll jump in, turn the car on real quick, dial up the AC, and then jump out and close the door and take the respirator off. But usually if once I'm done, it's just open up all the doors, turn the car off and just let it air out. And they're not making them as potent, I feel like, um smell wise. I mean, it still does the job and cleans the odor, but I remember when I first started using them, dude, like you couldn't jump in there with that thing running, or gassing out without a respirator. Nowadays you could, if you're being quick. It's not too bad. It's not a
yeah,
super heavy smell. I mean, I remember the first time I used it, my car smelled like chlorine, for like 2 weeks afterwards. And this was like riding around with the windows down, leaving it open in the garage at the house here or whatever. That you could still smell that chlorine smell for 2 weeks. Nowadays, like once you let it air out for like 20 or 30 minutes, like you hardly even notice it anymore.
yeah. I might try those things. I've always used the ozone.
Yeah.
But
Oh, if you do, make sure to use the code DSP10. The boys are giving anybody who listens to the podcast 10% off their orders over at
sweet.
biobombs.com.
Yeah, just whenever I order something, I'm like, I wonder if Alex has a code, and I'll try typing in DSP something.
Yeah.
I tried it on the Aquatech site. I
No,
tried
yeah, I
typing
don't.
in.
Yeah, I don't have a code over there. I mean, yeah, I do, but I don't. Um, but anyways, you got it during the sale anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, but I mean, what if I could save another $20?
No, we don't do stackables, man. This ain't Win Dixie. This ain't coupon Wednesdays.
I
You can't be stacking shit, bro. We won't make any money that way.
It'll be fine.
No, it won't.
It'll be fine.
No, it won't. No, I don't. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know what coupons out there anymore that still work. I think DSP10 still works on Oberk. I don't think Dave ever shut that down. But I think it's all caps. Um, DSP10 probably still works on Autofiber because I don't think Ian shut that down. The Biobombs guy have DSP10. They did that for us on the last podcast. Um, and that's probably about it because I think everybody else probably turned off their coupons or their coupon codes or whatever since I don't do any advertising anymore.
Yeah.
So, although I do that and then I go to MTE and then I got like two or three people asking me about advertising on the podcast. I'm like, let's wait and see. I'm not ready to do it yet.
Yeah. Show me the money.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, dude. Like, I mean, it wasn't like I got a ton of money. I mean, yeah, it was kind of nice to like make a little bit of money for my time and, it helped for the travel stuff that I did, going out to Air Force One and going to SEMA and going to the trainings at Noxie's and, whatever. But it's not like it was that much money. And then it's kind of nice now not having to worry about doing episodes every week if I don't want to do one. Um, Dude, I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked at my numbers in probably 2 weeks. I don't even know how many listens I'm getting anymore. Like I used to, when I had advertisers and trying to get, man, I was looking all the time. Like, what are my numbers doing? What are my numbers doing? What are my numbers doing? Because people would always ask me, like, well, how many listens do you get? How many downloads do
Yeah.
you get? Now that I don't do that shit, I don't look. I really don't care anymore. You know. So
It sounds like you're becoming an old grouchy dude.
kind of, man. I mean, honestly, like I was on the verge of giving it up. I was gonna hopefully win that right there and then come on here after it was all said and done and say thank you for the last 4.5 years. It's been great. Signing off. You
And
know,
then you could do a literal mic drop.
yeah, I could do a literal mic drop, but I had a bunch of people that were like, dude, you can't. I listen to it every week. So I said, all right, well, I won't do advertising. So that way I don't have to stress it if I get busy and I can't find a guest or somebody cancels on me last minute and I don't put an episode out, I don't stress about it. Um, so I'm just taking it kind of a week at a time right now. I mean, I didn't do one last week because of MTE.
Yeah.
You're on this week. I've got the um the wrap up of the paint correction competition one that I'm going to put together, and hopefully that'll go out maybe middle of next week or so. I've got Mark. Um, I met Mark at MTE. He was from Australia. He came over. It was his first time coming over for MTE. He came over. Just happened to, know Jason Rose, and he wanted to get into the paint correction competition, but he couldn't get signed up online, and we had a no show. So Jason Rose, got him in. He paid his money and ended up placing third place in the paint
Sweet.
correction competition. So I'm going to talk to him next week, and then the week after that, I've got my friend Angela. She's going to come on and talk about safety because she fell off a 20-foot ladder working on a boat and
Damn.
got hurt pretty bad last year. So she wanted to come on and talk about safety. So I've got like the next 3-4 weeks or whatever lined up right now. So then nothing after that. So we'll see. I got to get some more people on, or or
Yeah.
I don't. Whatever. I don't give a shit anymore. Kind of. It's just for funsies now. You know.
Yeah. You could have Haley on, be like, I'm not really a detailer.
Yeah. Exactly.
We just talk to her for an hour.
Yeah. She wouldn't do it. She's too shy for all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried to ask her if she wanted to start a cheerleading one. Like we would get on and do a cheerleading podcast. She was like, no. I was like, all right.
Man, one of the guys at work, um, he was talking about he wanted to start. He does the electrical stuff.
Uh-huh.
He's like, I want to start a wiring podcast. I was like, wiring? That's like
Yeah.
uber, super, mega, ultra nerdy.
Yeah. I had a buddy of mine reach out to me. He was interested. He owns a refrigeration company, and he called me and asked me about it. And he had a great title for it. He said he wanted to call it Cold Calls. And I was like,
Nice.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, I was listening to another. Barry Thiel was on it
Uh-huh.
when he was telling the incredibly personal story that I couldn't believe he was talking about. And he gets done telling it, and he's like, "Oh, and I can roller skate."
Yeah.
That's the funniest shit.
Yeah. I don't know. Was that the same one that he did the whole podcast from his bathroom in?
Yeah, and it seems like every time I've talked to him on the phone, it sounds like he's in the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, wherever you're comfortable,
Yeah, I mean that's
wherever you can
fine.
get away and be quiet and nobody's bothering you. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. People don't bother you in the bath, but usually don't bother you in there.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I just get that the cat tries to, we have a little pocket door. The cat's always trying to like paw through the pocket, scratch at the pocket door to try and see who's in there or whatever. So
Right.
that's the only thing. Yeah, man. All right. You got anything else? We're about an hour
Ah,
and a half in. So,
so you were doing this thing. I'll go. I'll say sunshots are better than lighted shop shots. That's hard to say,
yeah.
but sunshots.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. I agree with you, but I've just gotten so lazy. Like, I don't care anymore. I just do a walk around in the shop, and I think so. Here's the thing, and this is just my opinion, and this is kind of why I started doing walk around lighted shop shots. is it has a wetter look to it when you're done. You pull it out in the sun, it kind of has that nice warm glow to it, but
Yeah.
I feel like the shop lights make it look wetter. So I've just started doing that. And then too, like, I don't know, the sun angles are really weird around my shop, it seems like. And whenever I get done, I can never get a really great sun shot anymore, I feel like. I pull the car out and I'll angle it, I do a walk around, and I go and look at it, and I'm like, the sun's not even really hitting on it right. Like you can't even see like the sun pinpointed on it. You just see light. And I'll
Yeah.
move the vehicle and I do another walk around and I'm like, okay, a little bit of sun there, but then I'm missing it over here. And I move the vehicle. I spend like 20 minutes just trying to position the damn vehicle. Nowadays, I'm just like, fuck it. I walk around in the shop. I don't really care anymore. Like that's how the clients, gonna see it when they pick it up is in the shop lights. They come in and like, oh my God, looks so good. And then they drive off and, whatever. So yeah.
You've said I don't care a lot in this episode.
I don't, dude. I
Do you need a
really
hug,
I really
man?
don't, man. No, listen. Here's the thing is I guess I've kind of gotten over myself and I've gotten over this industry to an extent that like I really don't care what anybody thinks how I do it or what I'm doing other than the client. I mean, I've always said it, stop showing off for detailers, show off for your
Mhm.
clients. But I've really gotten to that point where that's why you'll probably notice, like, I don't really post any, like, afters or anything anymore. No reflection shots, no nothing. The only things I post that on is in the Aquatech installer group, just so I show off our products to our installers. Hey, this is what I worked on, whatever. Um, and then I'll post a walk around video or some pictures on my business social media pages. Other than that, dude, I don't post show and shines in any of these groups anymore because I really don't give a shit what anybody thinks of my work.
It's just noise. It's just noise.
Exactly. They're not paying me, and I really have gotten to that point now where I've said it for the longest time, stop showing off for detailers, show off for your clients. And now I've gotten to that point where I've stopped showing off for detailers other than my installers, to show them, a job that I did or something like that or whatever and explain the products I use so that, maybe it helps them out. And in my business social medias for my clients. So that's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, if I
I
didn't
like
make so many,
showing the stuff I do at the shop. It's really neat
yeah, yeah,
to
but
do
you're
that
doing
stuff.
like some cool shit though, dude. I mean, you're like, you're working on some out of this world stuff. You're doing like, full sandings and stuff like that. Ooh, I'm making a shiny car shinier because it comes to me, brand new, you know, maybe a week off the lot, so there's not much of a difference, it's a shiny car. I'm just making shinier, so
Yeah, see, I hated doing brand new cars
yeah,
because they're like, well, it's brand new. It doesn't need anything. And the
yeah,
very first car I did at the shop, when I had my shop, I actually got to do another car for him pretty soon. But he brought the car and he said, "Man, it's got some swirl marks right here and scratches up here. I don't know, just fix it. I want it to be super shiny and coated."
right,
And he was super easy to do work for because he saw the factory stuff and
yeah.
but it's hard. They think it's well, why do you recommend a two-step polish on a brand new car?
I don't, I don't.
And
And I tell people, listen, and I tell them like, look, you're probably going to talk to a bunch of other detailers. I said, there's no sense in the world to do a heavy cut on your car brand new unless it's just super water spotted up from sitting on the lot for too
Yeah.
long or whatever. I tell them flat out, like, look, I'm going to use a medium polish because it probably just has a few light stuff in it. We don't want to remove a lot of paint. Paint's so super thin, seems like these days on cars. So I'm just going to do a medium cut polish on it. And we're going to get the light stuff out because that's pretty much all that's in there. I'm going to throw a coating on it. It's X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
And usually that ends up being $100 an hour, or, well, no, usually it's about $200 an hour for me, or more, because I'll do a $1,200 job that takes me like 6 hours to do with a one-step polish and throw a 2-year coating on it for $1,200, or I'll do a one-step polish and throw a 6-year coating on it for $2,000 plus. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it still takes me the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And I just give them
I
the
don't know.
option.
I hate doing brand new stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's super easy though, dude. Like it's the best money per hour because you're 6 hours. I can wash it, clay it, polish it, and put a coat, wipe it down, and put a coating on it in 6 to 7 hours. I'm charging minimum $1,200.
Yeah.
It's $200 an hour. I'll do, dude, and one day, $1,200.
Yeah. Well, I told Zach, he's a shop owner out there. We were discussing pay when I first started, and I guess I'd been messing around out there for 3 or 4 days, but I told him, I was like, the dollar bill has not ever been my number one driving force.
Yeah,
Like that's not what I'm after. Like I want this shit to look good.
yeah. No, I
Like if
mean,
I work on it, I want it to be I
well,
want it to be
listen,
there.
but but you can have pride in it, but still have the dollar be like,
Yeah.
because that's the thing, dude. I mean, like, I'm not doing shit just to do it. I want to get fucking paid. But at the same time, like, I know I can still do a good job and I can still be proud of the work that I do, you know. But if I'm not getting paid, I'm not putting the work into it. I mean, a lot of times I have to tell myself, sometimes, like, look, this client is only getting X. Do not, do more, because as detailers, you're doing a real light polish or whatever, but there are some heavier scratches, and then you want to try and mow them down or get the wet sand out or whatever. And I have to tell
Yeah.
myself, like, no, they did not pay for this. They wanted, 70% correction. So don't do anymore. Get this fucking thing done. It's a $600, hyper polish or hybrid polish, whatever, and a sealant. You got 6 hours to do it. Get it fucking done. Don't fuck around with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, money is driving force for me now, and I can still take pride in doing that, but I'm also not going to take so much pride that I'm going to overwork myself and not get paid for it.
Yeah. Well, what I guess my point of saying that was a correction and coding
Yeah.
per hour is always going to pay more than this sanding shit. It will. Like the dude that I got to do his car, it's it'll probably be $1,400-$1,500 job, and I can do it in a day and a half, 2 days,
Yeah.
and because he'll want it. He's very particular, but he likes his stuff shiny.
Yeah.
But then wet sand in a car, it's less and it's more labor intensive and more difficult. But I don't know. I don't want to do it every day, like day in and day out. But it is fun, and it makes the correction jobs on a daily driver.
Right.
Oh God, it makes them so easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things that are a pain in the ass to do, but I do enjoy them when I get to them. But I don't want to do them all the time. Like, dude, I don't want to do 2-step corrections and codings that take 2.5, 3 days. I don't want to do those all the time. But one a week or one every now and then, sure. Other than that, man, give me, dude. I'll tell you what, man. Like the job I had yesterday, I split it between yesterday and today because the guy kind of brought it to me late, and I didn't have a lot of time to get the whole thing done yesterday. Dude, it was a quick $500 job. It was a $250 interior leather cleaning and conditioning, vacuum the carpets, clean the windows, and it was a $250 wash, clay, and sealant job. Dude, I'll take those. I would take one of those a day because it literally takes me about 4 hours to do,
Yeah,
and I'll work 4 hours a day for $500 or 5 hours a day for $500 and still make what, 2,000, $2,500 in a week. I'd much rather do that than do one 3-day correction and coding for $2,000. Like, it just
that's
that shit beats you up, man. Like, you're hunched over, polishing and grinding away, and you get home and then you're just locked up and stiff and angry because you've been breathing in compound dust all day.
yeah. But some of us are old as fuck still. I'm getting there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, what's the longest you've ever spent on a correction?
Too fucking long. um Dude, I don't know. I guess the longest I would say was 2 weeks,
Damn.
but that was that white Mercedes SUV that the guy tried to code it himself,
Oh yeah,
and he didn't level it down, and it was super high spots in areas. And so it was one of those things where I just had to like slowly mow down the high spots to get it off, because not only was it he didn't level it, but then he left it on for 8 months before he decided to get it taken care of. So a lot of the solvents in the ceramic coating had etched into the clear. So it was like being careful of like mowing it down and not, doing any more damage. And I told him,
could you still see the lines? Did it leave like lines in it
oh
or
yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah. And I mean, thankfully it was a pearl white Mercedes. So like out in the sun, you couldn't see shit, but in my shop with the lights, because I mean they're designed to show all that stuff. If you looked in certain angles, you could see the run lines in like etched in the clear on the paint, like on the doors and everything. But yeah, that one took me 2 weeks because I told the guy, I said, look, I said, this isn't something I can do like in one go. Like I'm gonna have to work on it a little bit here, because
Yeah,
I don't want to overheat the paint. I wasn't comfortable enough to wet sand it because it was the whole car. So I said, I'm gonna have to mow it down. I'm gonna heat the paint up. I'm gonna have to move to a different spot to let that paint cool down, heat that up here, and I'm just gonna have to keep moving around the vehicle
yeah.
like, pieces at a time because I don't want to overheat the paint. I don't want to burn it. I said, there's a chance that I could. He's like, well, if you do, you'll stop, right? And I said, absolutely. And there was one spot that I did. I grinded a little bit too much trying to get it, and it. I mean, it wasn't super noticeable, but there was a light little kind of burn through. So I stopped. And I was like, all right, well, fuck that. That one's done. But yeah, I told the guys that I can't give you a time frame because I'm going to work on it like for probably 4 or 5 hours a day, because I'm not going to kill myself too. And just lucky enough, he was going on a 2-week cruise, so he's like, you can have it while I'm going on the cruise. So I worked on it for 2 weeks, charged him $6,000. You know, for $30,000 a week was good enough for me.
Yeah.
Um, and realistically, total work time I had on it was maybe 4 or 5 days. But again, like I just worked on it, 4 hours a day, 5 hours max a day, and then I'd go home because I didn't want to overburn myself out, breathing and all. Because dude, I was using M100 and
Mhm.
and a wool pad, to cut it because, like, dude, he put it on like it was wax. He didn't even put it on like you're supposed to put a coating on. He'd put it on like it was wax. So he'd like glob it in one area and try to like spread it. So there'd be some areas that had like visible thickness of coating, and in other areas where there was nothing.
Yeah.
And that was the hard thing too that I didn't want to sand, because I was like, you've got this super thick area that you're going to have to bear down sanding. And then, like, right next to it, you've got nothing that if you go too much, then you're taking off, clear or burning through or whatever. So yeah, that was probably the one that took me the longest.
I believe it. I helped a guy a couple of years ago. He had a customer. It was a single stage Toyota pickup, like 97 or so. He put a coating on. It was a respray with single stage, but he put a coating on it. Apparently was very intoxicated
Uh-huh.
and just left the shit on there. It was Amazon or eBay
Yeah,
coating.
that's what this was.
And the worst of it was the hood. The roof was kind of bad, but the hood was. We sanded. I took 1,500 grit to the hood and sanded all that mess off, and it was a mess.
Yeah.
I submitted that one for paint correction of the month.
Yeah.
It was nasty. But yeah, that was probably the hardest job I did. That was fixing somebody. That was harder than Scotch Brite.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say the same, because I've done plenty of Scotch Brites over the years. They're a pain in the ass, but not like taking off ceramic coating that somebody didn't know what the fuck they were doing when they put it
Yeah,
on.
yeah. The guy told him. He said, "Yeah, I was shit faced when I did it, and I was doing it out in the sun. I don't even know if he washed the truck or anything,
Jesus.
but it. I'll have to find that. Oh, send me the link to those chlorine things too.
Okay.
But yeah, that thing, dude, it was toasted.
Yeah.
And then the guy that I helped, he told me he only charged $1,000 for it. I
Ugh.
said, "What? A grand to fix that mess?"
Jesus. Yeah.
I got,
Dude, some people just don't know what the fuck to charge, man.
yeah. Well, I think too, it's being nervous to say, "Yeah, It's gonna cost $1,500 to fix this,"
Yeah.
and but it is what it is. You did it. It's not my fault. Your car is fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
Whatever.
again, some people don't care about their cars, you know, or they watch too many YouTube detailers that don't really know what they're talking about and make that shit look easy, and it's not.
Yeah.
And then they fuck around and find out.
Or they say that the DA cuts faster than the rotary.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
won't name the names, but
I mean,
you know.
yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. Listen, man, I think a lot of that is clickbaity. I'm a full on believe that that person knows what they're doing and is just trying to get clickbait, and and in a certain someone else to bite on it and make a thing that then promotes what he's saying. Dude, I listen, I don't agree with it, but sometimes I think some people are a little bit smarter than they lead on. And that's why I don't get caught up in that stuff, because the people that do, I feel like they think that they're saving the industry or whatever, and they're really just showing that they're not as intelligent. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm gonna leave.
Uh, The thing I don't like about it, about all that, is people are believing it,
Oh, absolutely.
and then you have a bunch of technicians that if they get something really trashed, they can't fix it.
Absolutely. Listen, I don't know how to say this without saying that without sounding like a dick. So
Oh, it's fine.
I'm I'm gonna preface this and just say like I apologize first if I come off sounding like a dick. Um there's a lot of bad technique out there, and I witnessed it firsthand at MTE. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say, man, because I just don't want to sound like an asshole. And I'm probably already am coming off as an asshole. But
It's fine. I mean, I know there's more than one way to do everything.
there yes, there absolutely is, and everything, but yeah, I mean, like I just and not even MTE, dude. Like I've gone to SEMA, and everybody's got a polisher in their booth and a panel or whatever, and you watch them, and it's just like just bad technique, man. And I don't know
Mhm.
that I have the greatest technique, but um, yeah, I've just seen some bad technique, overworking chemicals, burning pads, smoking pads. It's the dumbest thing ever. If you're smoking a
Yeah.
pad, you're just stop detailing right now, please.
I met a guy in one of the groups. He's a couple hours away from here, and he's posted it about if training was worth it. And I told him I'd been to Gloss U or something. I don't remember what, but he ended up coming, and I showed him some stuff.
Yeah.
But I gave him the DA, and I think he knew of microfibers. My show, I was like, just polish this section, and he did the up and down, back and forth, up and down, back and forth. I said, all right, let me show you how I do it. So I did it, and I just went back and forth like this,
Hmm.
you know, and he just was dumbfounded. He said that is way different than what I was taught.
Yeah.
I said, where'd you learn? And he said, YouTube.
YouTube detailer,
I
boy,
said, I'm
certified.
yeah. He told me. He said that one day cut his correction time in half.
Yeah.
And I was like, just try it that way. And he was going, and I grabbed the head of the polisher and pushed down on it. Showed I was like, put this much pressure.
Yeah. Listen, I'll admit, I mean, there's some things you can learn from YouTube. I mean, when I started doing it at the car wash, I didn't have anybody to show me how to really run a DA or do paint correction or whatever. I mean, we were still using, old school rotaries, the DeWalt's, the Milwaukee's, the Makitas, whatever we had. But and I've said it before, and I'll always say it. I mean, like Greg Masterson was the only person that I could find on YouTube that was doing chemical guys videos and showing how to polish or
Yeah,
whatever, and that's kind of where I kind of learned the technique. Um, you know, but it's hard. I mean, you can watch somebody do it, but again, you don't know how much down pressure, you don't know how much to, how to really how long you're working the chemical, how much, whatever. And that's where I just don't get the whole like, well, I'm just going to watch a YouTube video and learn it. I forget who it was. Somebody, I think at MTE, was telling me like they're going to start doing PPF training online. Like, I mean, okay. I mean, I guess you could kind of teach some stuff online, but
you
that's,
still got to do it.
yeah, you still have to do it. But plus, like, I don't know how they're going to teach, you know, curves and cuts and stretch and pulls and all that shit, because like without being able to do it, you're not going to know it. You physically need somebody to kind of teach you or whatever. So I don't know. I think that's going to be the next thing that's going to fuck people up, is because then people will just be like, oh, well, I watch a YouTube video of it. I can PPF my own car now. And then, whatever. I don't know. I might be going on a rant about fucking YouTube, but whatever. I mean,
I've watched
I
YouTube.
did watch a YouTube video on how to start a podcast. So I don't know. Maybe I don't have any room to talk.
Well, I mean, that's why I tell, like, if one of the kids, they ask, do you know how to do this? I say, no, get on YouTube.
Yeah.
I say, if you can't figure it out, I'll watch.
Listen, I've started going to ChatGPT now. I type everything into ChatGPT. How do I do this? How do I do this? I let ChatGPT. It's better than Google, man, because it gives you like a definite. Google will give you like 18 different websites to go look at. ChatGPT just tells you, do this, follow these rules, say this.
Huh. I don't try all that stuff. Is that the AI?
Yeah,
Okay.
dude, I use it for everything. I'll type out a text, and if it's not to like a friend, if it's somebody that I want it to sound professional, or I want it whatever, I'll type out a text in ChatGPT and just say, make this sound more professional, and ChatGPT will just rewrite it, and then I just copy and paste it.
Alex's grammar has improved.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hell
Dude,
yeah.
like I just sent Sheldon the other night. I sent Sheldon a proposal for doing some stuff, some more stuff at MTE. Since we had a successful paint correction competition, I wanted to do more stuff with MTE in the detail. So I sent Sheldon a proposal, and it was all through ChatGPT. I just went to ChatGPT and said, this is what I want to do for Mobile Tech Expo. Like, how do I, approach it? And ChatGPT like gave me a whole thing, and then at the end of it, it said, would you like me to write a proposal for you? And I just said yes, and then it wrote the proposal for me, and all I had to do was fill in my name and the date and send it to Sheldon. So
Nice.
yeah, man, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I even asked it. I even flat out asked it. I think I sent it to you. I asked it what cuts faster, a 25 millimeter DA or a rotary? You know what ChatGPT said?
What?
A rotary.
That's funny.
I didn't send that to you.
You.
Oh,
Yes, you did. You
did I?
did.
Yeah, I thought I sent it to you. Let me see. Let me see if I still have it. Yeah, here it is. So a rotary polisher cuts faster than a 25 millimeter dual action polisher. Here's why. Rotary polisher, direct power.
Yep, I
Rotary
found it.
polisher, uses direct drive mechanisms, aggressive connection. Yeah. So, yeah. So even ChatGPT knows that that rotary is cut faster than a DA.
Yeah.
So don't believe everything you see on YouTube, kids. Go ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, I've burned a bunch of stuff with a DA, and it's not. It, I'm a dumbass. I burn usually when I make a bad mistake, it's on my own vehicles
Yeah.
because I don't have like I'm trying to squeeze it in between everybody else's, and I'll do sketchy stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to cram the Mark III into a spot that needed a 3 inch.
Yeah.
I was like, "Wah, wah, wah." Damn it! I popped right through,
Nice.
and it was I don't know 3 seconds.
Yeah. Jeez. That's that thin ass Subaru paint though, bro.
Dude, it was a 2004 with 200 and I don't know 200,000 on it. all original paint, and it was measuring 128
Oh, wow.
microns. And
That's not bad.
yeah, I took 800 grit to the driver door.
Yeah. That's
I
about
popped through. I
that's about
popped through
that's about
under
that's about 5 mils for the people that don't know microns and mils. It's about 5 mils paint.
total.
Yeah.
Yeah, I popped through right under the door handle, but I mean, 800 grit, it took it.
It's not bad.
But apparently, I don't remember who said it, but they said Subaru technically has the most paint on them. But I don't know. Ours was measuring, our newer one, it measures like 5 mils at the most.
Yeah. I don't know. My buddy at the Range Rover dealership said when he was trying to measure out the pans that he was spraying, he went over and measured a brand new Range Rover, and he said those had like 7 or 8 mils on them. I was like, "What,
Man,
dude?" I was like, "Dude, they're $200,000 vehicles. Of course, they've got heavy ass paint on them." You know,
yeah,
I think Bentleys and Rolls Royce probably have pretty heavy because I know they. I think Bentley. I was told they spend like 500 man hours just on paint
yeah.
to get it.
I've heard,
That's why there's no real like orange peel in Bentleys and Rolls
yeah,
Royces because they spend a shit ton of time sanding it flat and then polishing it out and whatnot. So yeah, but all right, man. I'm gonna wrap this up. It's getting late. I got cars to
yeah,
do tomorrow. I appreciate you coming on and just fucking shooting the shit, man. Uh,
yeah. It was a good
hopefully,
time.
hopefully it was fun. Yeah. So you got anything you want to promote? No, little wikis.
Little
Yeah,
Wickies.
fuck little wikis. Everybody knows Red Delight is far superior than little
Oh,
wikis.
I swear, I thought they were the same wax.
Yeah, no, they're not. Yeah. But all right, buddy. You have a good rest of your night and we'll chat soon, man.
Cool, man. Take
All
it
right.
easy.
Yeah, buddy. Take care.
See you. Oh, hey,
Yeah.
uh, edit out my technical difficulties at the beginning of this.